second chance in the game.
Before we get into it, I'm into quotes, reading books. One thing I try to do, is read 100 books a year, and that's just to learn. And this quote really has always stood out to me. The real difference in coaching is not about talent, personality, pride, money, or ambition. It's about believing in someone and then helping to do whatever it takes to help that person be his or her very best. So something to think about before we get into all this. As coaches, in the United States, over 23.9 million children live in absence of their biological fathers. And as you see here on the slide, fatherless children represent over 63% of teen suicides, 70% of juveniles in state institutions, 71% of high school dropouts. Going down the slide, 85% of youth in prison, and over 90% of homeless and runaway children. So our role as coaches, it's bigger than you think. So I thank you for improving yourself to try to help your student athletes. Going into about myself, this will be I just finished my 5th season here at Dundee High School. I started in 2006 in Ohio at Delta High School under Mike Vickers, will be in the Hall of Fame one day. From 2007 to 2010, I was at Swanton High School, which is also in Fulton County under Ben Olemaker. From there, I moved on to Anthony Wayne High School under Craig Smith, and where I loved my time there. I was the offensive line coach, and we did a lot of good things at the big school level. From then on, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who's the athletic director, and asked me to come, would I be interested in coming back home to Monroe County in Michigan here at Dundee High School. And, after some time, I thought it over and I interviewed for the job, and it worked out, and I've been here ever since. I'm proud of some of the things we've accomplished here at Dundee High School, and most importantly, being Team Academic All-State every year we've been here. This past year, we were the highest GPA in the state of Michigan in our division with a 3.85 GPA. I was also very fortunate to be selected to the 2016 AFCA 30 under 30. Back then it was 30 under 30 class, and learned from a lot of great coaches. And also this past year we qualified for the Division V playoffs. I'm a 2005 graduate of St. Mary Catholic Central in Monroe, Michigan, where I played under Jack Jarmo. And then I went on to college at the University of Toledo, where I got a bachelor's in recreation management and psychology, a master's in special education. And then I'll also be a graduate of the University of Notre Dame for program in inclusive education graduate program in July of 2020. A little bit more about me, just so you know where I'm coming from. I'm proud, I'm proudly married to my wife Stacy and my 3.5-year-old Jackson. And I'm also the inclusion director of special education at my alma mater, St. Mary Catholic Central Monroe. My high school football coach, Jack Jarmo, he's the reason I got into coaching. I grew up in a home where my parents did their best, but my coaches helped raise me. And my high school football coach, Jack Jarmo in particular, had a profound impact on me. He's actually, my son's named after him, so that tells you a lot about the impact he made on me. We're a family-oriented program. We want coaches to be around, or coaches' kids to be around, I'm sorry. And we try to be mindful of their time in the summer and give our coaches time with their families. For me, I do this because I love it. It's about a 45-minute commute one way for me, but I believe in what we do as a program, and I believe that football's given us the opportunity to make a positive impact on young men. So that's why we do what we do. We're very lucky. Our staff to be mentored by some great coaches from Ohio and Michigan, including Mike Vickers, Tim Spees, Jack and Gasper Jarmo. Gasper, may he rest in peace. Scott Hoffman, Craig Smith, and there's so many others. So why am I saying this? It's because everything I'm about to say in this presentation, it's not like I invented it. It's because we were influenced by these great coaches, these great men, and learned something from them. So this comes from our pyramid of success. And we kind of borrowed this idea from the Los Angeles Rams. One of our graduates, alumni here at Dundee High School is Ted Rath. And we've talked a lot over the last few years about goal setting and building programs. And we truly believe this is what we need for our program to be successful. These are non-negotiables. Nothing can be missing if we want to accomplish what we want to accomplish. You know, at the bottom here, consistency, loyalty, trust, character. Building on that, just the focus on the process and our daily effort. We always talk about winning the next day, focusing on the next practice. That's all we care about. And our standards. A big word you're going to hear me hear a lot today in this presentation is being selfless. Faith, belief in each other. You know, faith being believing in what you can't quite see. And ultimately, what's most important is family. About Dundee High School. So we're a small town. We're about 17 miles north of the state line in Michigan. We're about 15 miles south of Ann Arbor, Michigan off US 23. About 45 minutes or so southwest of Detroit, Michigan. We started as a rural farm town, but the population has exploded in the last 10 years and continues to grow. We play in the LCA, the Lenawee County Athletic Conference. We're actually only one of two Monroe County schools that play in that conference. We're a school of approximately 500 students, which qualifies as Division V or Class B in Michigan. Our town consists of a lot of blue-collar, working-class, natural, tough kids. We're very fortunate. We don't have the biggest kids always, but we're fortunate we have some naturally tough kids and a very supportive administration. We're also very fortunate we have a new turf stadium opening in August of 2020 on campus. We played for the last, I believe it's 85 years. Our programs played their games at the stadium over at the middle school, so we're really excited to move our games to the high school this season. Also, what's really cool is next season will be the 105th season of football at Dundee High School. So there's a lot of tradition that's built here, a lot of people that take pride in this program. A little bit about Dundee too. This school is probably most famous for wrestling and Cabela's. Wrestling, I believe we've been in the state finals the last 12 years, winning 10 of those. Like I said, ultimately, with all that tradition and history, the town cares about our sports teams, and they pack the stands for our home games. So, giving you a little background into what we walked into when we took over this program in December 2014. So, it'll tie into the whole journey of our presentation here. What we walked into prior to our staff's arrival, they were 0-9, riding a 14-game losing streak. They had 18 players. They lacked basic knowledge about game preparation. They didn't know how to take an under center snap. They didn't even know what an under center snap was. With all due respect to the people that were before us, there's a lot of traditions that were ended that were important to our community. Bridges and relationships with other sport programs, they were disconnected. Equipment was neglected. They had 5 head coaches in 4 years. And the crazy stat of all is they had 4 head coaches in one season prior to our arrival. It was an unfortunate situation that created a lot of lack of trust. But still, we knew we had confidence that this place could be turned around because of the kids and the administration here and the community that supported them. So the good of what we walked into. Last made the playoffs in 2012. Like I said, we had an administration that really wanted us to be successful in a supportive community. We've touched on the kind of kids we have here. Other sports have been successful, obviously wrestling. Basketball was pretty successful. Baseball, track, swimming. So there was winners, and there was kids that knew how to win in the building. It wasn't foreign to them. And you know, probably what was most important is We had a group of seniors coming to us that had enough of losing. They wanted to be successful. And we also were very fortunate to have a parents group called Dundee Pride that was ready to help us as well with whatever we needed. So what we're here to talk about, connecting our program to the community. So some of the things we're going to touch on, as you can see there on your left. On your right here, you'll see this is a picture from our Military Appreciation Night. Each year at that, we have two honorary captains. This gentleman actually served in the Vietnam War and unfortunately passed away not too long after our season was over, but we know this meant a lot to him, and it was very cool to see our kids, prior to the coin toss, going up and asking him questions, hearing his stories, and that's just one of the little special things about being in a small town. So selfless. Selfless is probably the most common word you'll hear if you come to one of our practices. They see it everywhere. It's in our scouting reports. It's on our T-shirts. It's on our social media, our hashtags. You hear our coaches talk about in our position group meetings. We have a Thursday night, what we call our family meeting, which it's just us and our varsity team. You hear us talk about that a lot. So what does this have to do with us connecting to our community? Ultimately, we want our student athletes to be winners on the field, but we want them to be successful in their classroom and their community as well. Being selfless is not a natural mindset for a teenager. So it's something that we try to hammer every day. We want to walk the walk. There's no job above someone, even me. For example, I remember one time I was sweeping the floors after a practice because I wanted to get the dirt out of the way so the janitor didn't have to before our team dinner. Stuff like that, helping our athletic director manage winter or spring sporting events, helping in the concession stand. Our varsity kids will volunteer to do work the chains at our JV games. Just doing those little things, serving others, being selfless. So just some of the ways that we connect to our program to the community, and we'll go through these. Our youth football camp, Victory Day, which is one of our most popular events. Our making home games a big deal, Father's Day dinner, including our mothers. Some of the other things, let's see here. Military Appreciation Night, recognizing our faculty, working with other sports programs, working with our youth programs. All those things we're going to talk about in this presentation. Starting with our youth football camp. So when we took over, like I said, we took over in December 2015, and one of our priorities was reestablishing the relationship with our youth program. We started our youth football camp in 2015 with we had 70 participants in grades 1 through 8th. This past summer we had around 105. Every kid, every camper learns every position. Our high school kids wear their jerseys. They work every station. We give them a practice plan and kind of oversee, but they actually run the camp. We charge $35 a camper, but obviously we don't turn any kid away. If a kid can only afford to pay $5 or $10, that's fine. If they can't afford anything, we still don't turn people away. We work with local businesses to provide sponsorships so those kids can come to the camp. Come to our camp, those kids receive a T-shirt, and then at the end of camp, which you'll see in the next couple slides, the whole team autographs it at the end of camp, and that's probably one of the cool moments. They receive a ticket to the first home game of the year where they get to build the tunnel and all that stuff. They get a drawstring backpack that says Dundee football on it, which is usually sponsored by one of our local businesses. They get a schedule bookmark. They get a wristband. In the past, too, they've also gotten schedule magnets and other sorts of stuff. We try to raffle off items every day. Sometimes it's a signed team poster or a signed football or a helmet. So building our youth camp, we send a flyer home with every kid in late April at the elementary and our middle school right after spring break. We put signs and flyers around town. We advertise on social media, and I'll show you some of those examples here soon. We keep a spreadsheet. So every camper that's attended the year before, we'll send them a special made postcard. We use Vistaprint for a lot of that stuff. We invite the media. We're in a spot where we're close to Detroit, we're close to Ann Arbor, we're close to Toledo. So we'll invite media from all those areas. We invite the local newspapers and try to remind them. And then obviously we post pictures on our Facebook page and the Youth League Facebook page as well, and they get a real kick out of that. So this is just an example of one of our social media advertisements. Obviously showing our youth football camp. This is from last year in our high school camps. Here's an example of the postcard we send home for our youth football camp. This is from 2015. And then the bookmark, our scheduled bookmark we use. And again, we use Vistaprint for a lot of these. Here's a picture from last year's youth football camp. This is a group of the campers. And we have every varsity and JV player wearing their jersey. They go, this is at the very start of the first day of camp. They introduce themselves, their name, their grade, and what position they play. Some more pictures here. So this looks like it's either 7th or 8th graders. They're all learning how to take a quarterback snap. Even if they're never going to play quarterback in high school, they're all learning it. This is another group of kids learning receiver routes while our high school kids are working with them. One of our running backs here, this is Luke Williams, who actually just signed with the University of Findlay this past week, teaching a group of kids how to get in the stance for play fullback. Over here it looks like we have a group of kids doing agility drills. Looks like linebacker drills down here. And this looks like our pre-practice warm-ups. So again, we have all of our kids there, at least most of them, the majority of them, probably 95% of our kids help. And it's really cool to see just the interaction with the little kids. And then, like I said, at the end of camp, and this is probably one of their favorite parts, is they get their T-shirts autographed. We give a Sharpie to every one of our high school kids, and they're signing the T-shirts for the kids, the campers, I mean. So Victory Day. Victory Day, like I said, is probably one of our most popular, if not the most popular thing we do with our community. And we've made it a county thing for us, a Monroe County thing for us. It's very important to us as an educator that works in special education. I hold it important. But it's a football experience for individuals with cognitive disabilities and impairments in our area. Each participant gets to go through a variety of stations and then concludes the day by scoring a touchdown against a mock defense. We invite the band, and they're playing the fight song after every touchdown. They're playing songs throughout the event. Our cheerleaders are there doing their routines. I really want to highlight this, though. This was started by Aaron Seghetti, who's an assistant coach and teacher at Trenton High School in Michigan. He's a 3-time cancer survivor, 3 times. He wanted to give something back. And actually, if you go to this website, you can learn more about his journey and how he started this. But now it's caught on. I know Eastern Michigan and several other college programs. Iowa State University does this. The University of Toledo. High schools around the country have done this. So I know it's not unique to us, but it's important to us. And really, Coach Seghetti deserves the credit for starting this. Our athletic director and one of my longtime assistant coaches, Tom Ostrike, and also one of our football parents, Kim Salenbean, who works at the Monroe County ISD, they work really hard to bring this to Dundee, and we do it every year. It's usually the 3rd week of the season. We do it on a Saturday morning. Win or lose, it doesn't matter who we play that night, but they work real hard as far as getting participants and spreading the word. Right now, we hand out participant letters based on word of mouth and recommendations, relying on Kim and Tom and the people they know at the ISD. Like I said, it runs on a Saturday morning from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. I mentioned the band and their role also, I think it's important, is we invite captains from other local high schools to join and be mentors for the day and work with the participants. So like last year, I believe we had 4 other high schools represented, and they send their team captains. And they'll actually partner up with participants. And we partner with our local Kiwanis Club, and they're kind enough to provide lunch to all the participants and volunteers. Just show you some pictures here. So one of the stations is the participants getting to try on football equipment, getting a handoff, and just having fun running into a bag here. And like you see, I mean, there's other schools represented here. It's not just a Dundee thing, it's a Monroe County thing. I'll tell you, and it really puts everything in perspective. You know, we've done this event on days after we've lost games and days after we've won games, and it doesn't matter really the results, because once you see these pictures, and you'll see the video here shortly, it puts it all in perspective for you, what we're trying to accomplish as a program. There's a young lady scoring a touchdown against a mock defense. A couple of captains from actually one of our rival high schools working with a participant. This is the beginning of the day. They're running under the tunnel with the band playing. One of our student athletes with a participant. And here's a big group shot. You know, what's amazing is when we started this, I believe we had 15 participants the first year we did this in 2016. This past year we had somewhere around 35 participants, not including, you know, our student athletes, team captains from other schools. So right now I'm going to go ahead and show a video here, a little quick highlight film of this past year's Victory Day. That's the participants running on the field with our players and other teams' representatives. They get to practice kicking field goals. Some of these kids have some talent too. Tackling the dummies. And just really just having a good time enjoying the game of football. Like you see, I mean, just the interaction, it really warms your heart. Here we have a young man scoring a touchdown. I mean, every kid gets to do this. Every participant gets to do this. So another way we connect our community, our program to our community is we try to make home games a big deal. The first home game of the year for us is always youth football night. So the kids that attended our youth football camp, along with all of the kids that participate in our junior Vikings football league, our flag football league, our middle school, they all get in free wearing their jerseys or t-shirts. They're introduced at halftime. They get to form the pregame tunnel with the band and cheerleaders. We do a military and first responders appreciation night. We utilize some people in the community, and we have a captain that represents the military and a captain that represents first responders, and they receive a nice plaque from us, and then obviously go out to the coin toss with our captains. We also sell special t-shirts, which I'll show you an example here in a second, and the proceeds from those t-shirts will go to a charity that benefits military or first responders. This past year we sold our t-shirts. The proceeds went to an organization called Operation Finally Home, which builds homes for families of fallen soldiers. We also do a faculty appreciation night and team dinner. So we try to recognize those faculty at halftime. and we invite them to our team dinner. And our varsity football team will actually deliver a handwritten letter to them, inviting them to our team dinner and sit with them as well. Obviously, homecoming. But a little thing we do too with homecoming is, as you see down here, is we invite our youth program teams to be in the parade because our varsity team doesn't participate in the parade. Also on here is we honor past championship teams. If we have a team that maybe won a league title 20 years ago or 15 years ago or 10 years ago, and we can get them together, we'll honor them at halftime. And obviously we do a senior night for all fall student athletes as well. Like down here's a picture of the kids getting ready to be introduced at halftime, obviously, and then this is from the parade at homecoming. These are just examples of the t-shirts that we've had made. And like I said, we sell these and the proceeds will go to a charity. We've done it for Operation Finally Home, Wounded Warrior Project. So I think it's also, when we talk about connecting our program to the community, is making your moms feel important. For the last team dinner of the regular season, we invite our moms to team dinner. We take a day during the week where we would normally watch film or lift, and we have each varsity player and JV player write a handwritten letter to their mom, thanking them, or mother figure, thanking them for everything they do in their life. And we have them read it to their mother before dinner. We do a Moms of Fall picture. So with the seniors, we pay for an 8 by 10 photo for each of them, and I know it means a lot to the mothers. So the varsity players, the seniors will wear their one jersey while the moms wear their opposite away jersey. This was 2 years ago right here. And they want me in it too for some reason, but I know my mom enjoys it as well. This is an example here of the mother's team dinner. And also, when we start that team dinner, after the boys read their letter to their mother, they get up, they get their mom's food, bring it to them. We make and serve them for once. We also make sure to include the dads. We do a special Father's Day dinner. It's usually because we do a team camp in the middle of June, we try to time it up with Father's Day. So the same deal though. Each player will serve their father or father figure before getting their own food and writes a handwritten letter to them, thanking them for everything they've done in their life. Later in the season, and I know this is not a unique thing, but it's something that if you don't do, I recommend it. We do a jersey night with just the varsity. Each player invites their dad or a father figure to this special ceremony. We do it on a Thursday after practice, and each guest of that player will stand up and say why they're proud of their son and I love you. We've done this 2 years now, and we've seen it's really impactful for both not only the player but his father as well. It's important too that you find somebody that's comfortable, a dad that's comfortable getting up and standing up in front of a group of people and not being afraid to say, I'm proud of my son because X, Y, and Z, and I love you. It's really impactful to watch because for some of these kids, it's the first time they've heard dad say I love you, or they might not think their dad is proud of them. So I recommend if you don't do this, it takes about an hour, and we have 25 kids or so on varsity. I recommend you do it. Also, something new we're going to do this year is we're going to have a night where the dads walk out before the game. We walk out 2 by 2 to the field. We're going to have their dads or a father figure walk with them out to the field as our intro music's playing and all that. I think it's important to partner with local businesses as well. In the past, we've done a Super Bowl party fundraiser, which down here you can see. Obviously, simple things like hole sponsors at your golf outing if you do one. We partner with a local car dealership to do a player of the week. So each week we post, an offensive, defensive scout team and special teams player of the week with a nice little advertisement for them. And they help us out financially to help pay for food because any chance we get, anytime we keep our varsity here late, whether it's to watch film or work out, and it's around dinner time, we feed them. We encourage, and try to patronize local businesses with our kids as much as we can. We'll work with local restaurants, or especially those mom and pop family owned stores, try to work out some kind of reward with where they might give us a gift card to reward our lifter of the month. We give them window and car decals, fan of Dundee football, Dundee Viking football pride. And we also give them a nice plaque at the end during the winter, so, proud supporter of Dundee football. I know there's probably more ways I could do this, and if you have ideas on how you do this, I would love to hear about them. So please email me and get in touch with me. I also think this is important. Christmas thank you cards. Okay, it seems very trivial. We make them on Vistaprint, and we get about 50 cards for just over $20. It's time consuming, but it's easy to design, and it's worth it for us. We send a Christmas card to every single kid in our program, and then alumni, our board, and administrators. And it can be something as simple as, just hope you and your family have a Merry Christmas. So proud of you in the season you had. It takes time. It takes me about 2 or 3 weeks, but it's worth it. And every year we've gotten compliments on it. Just showing that you can care. And that's something I learned from my high school football coaches. He always emphasized, never undervalue the simple please and thank yous in life. Like I mentioned, I was fortunate enough to go to the AFCA 30 under 30 back in 2016, and Grant Taff, who was a former legendary head coach at Baylor, one of the first things he told our class was, never underestimate the power of a simple handwritten thank you note. In today's age, it's very much easier to email and text, so those thank you notes go a long way. We send thank you notes to our trainers, teachers, local businesses, parents that help us, school secretaries and custodians. We try to, thank them as much as we can because they do a lot for us. And also randomly, we'll pick a week where our assistant coaches will get a group of kids or a list of kids from me, and they'll write a handwritten thank you note. Not handwritten thank you note, but handwritten good luck note and put it in their lockers. And like I said, we send a Christmas card to them every year. So here's an example of this past year's Christmas card. This is the thank you note. Very simple. We use it on Vistaprint. It doesn't take long to design. And it's very affordable. And now they have a mailing option. And I don't get a commission from Vistaprint for saying all this, but it's just what we use, and it's pretty simple and not very time consuming. Okay, so letters of youth football players. We started doing this in 2017. We began our youth football program from 3rd through 6th grade, called the Dundee Junior Vikings. Then this past year we expanded to add K through 3rd flag football. Right now we have over 200 kids in that program. And what's pretty cool is there's such strong support in that program that for the past 3 years they've been selected to play at halftime of a Detroit Lions game. So I know the kids really get excited and look forward to that. But anyway, going back to our clinic topic. Before the last home game of the year, we get a list from them of every single kid in the Dundee Junior Vikings. We'll use the board, we'll break it down, we'll write a list of whether it's 6, 7, 8 kids. And then instead of watching film one day, all the varsity players will take a group and they'll write a handwritten thank you note to them, a good luck note to them. I give them a little script to follow, but they can write what they want in there, and I trust them with that. And then I'll hand deliver all those letters to the coaches of those Dundee Junior Viking football players after practice one day, and they'll receive those letters at their last practice before their last home game. Why we do it? We want to create a tradition where those youngsters look up to our varsity kids. And we've gotten a lot of compliments on it. Our parents and the youth players love it. I included just their website down there, but here I'll show you some examples. So here's some examples just of, as you see over here, here's the letter template we create, and they write their good luck letter to them. These are just some various compliments, feedback we've received. I mean, you never know what it's going to do for a kid. You never know what a kid's going through, if they're lacking confidence or not. And just this simple little note that takes 3 or 4 minutes for each kid. We use an hour. It takes an hour of our day, and we give up a film session for it. So be it. But just to, to see this and read this, and this is just a sample we get every year. It's worth it to us. We're building relationships in the community. We're building relationships with those youth football players. So community service. After our first full week of practice, on the Saturday, we'll go a shorter day from about 8 to 10 in the middle of two-a-days, and we dedicate the afternoon to community service projects. We'll do a stadium cleanup where we hang banners, touch up paint, clean. We've had a group of players go down to the old mill in town, fish to the fishing derby and be judges or help bait hooks for little kids. We do a community scrap drive or clear yards for the elderly, move classroom furniture, anything that people come and approach us with reach out on social media asking if they need help. And if they come back to us with, hey, we need firewood cleared out of the yard, we send a group of kids to do it. And we've actually been very fortunate to be recognized by the state twice by this, back in 2016, then this past winter for our community service. We have them volunteer ref and keep score at the Winter Special Olympics for unified basketball and volleyball. In our off-season program, we do an off-season point system program for all of our players currently in 7th grade through 11th. That'll be playing football next year. They receive 10 points per community service hour that go towards various incentives. And that can be as simple as shoveling. If they are shoveling the driveway on a snow day and they take a picture and send it to me, they get a point. They get points for that, and it goes towards various incentives. And like I said, we're really fortunate to be recognized by the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association, receiving the Steve Spicer Team Leadership Memorial Award for our community service. So down here you can see a part of our stadium cleanup is the boys pulling weeds and getting the scoreboard ready, and then they end up laying mulch and planting flowers. And then here's a picture of our community service award from this past winter. Honoring the tradition of the program. Like I said, next year for us is the 105th season for Dundee football. There's a lot of people in this community that take pride in and love this program. So we try to do our best to honor those guys that have come before us. Randomly we'll post pictures of old teams from the past on there. Like down here's a picture of the very first football team from 1915. Like I said, we honor championship teams on their anniversaries. We make sure, and this is just kind of a pet peeve of mine, but we keep plaques in the trophy case updated with names of past and current players. Like over here is every all-state player that Dundee's ever had. We make sure that's updated. The awards at our banquet are named after coaches and players that have been, instrumental in the success of our program, been legends in our program. Our players, they help work the annual high school athletics Hall of Fame banquet, and they spend time, during dinner talking to those nominees. And also our team captains, my athletic director, myself, will go to a community talk at the local museum, and we kind of talk about the history of our program and spend time just talking with those members of the community, especially the elderly, about our program and what we're doing. And they're little things. Yeah, do they take time away from the X's and O's, but to us they matter. So recognizing other sports. One thing we do, we let our players out of practice early to try to attend at least one event for each fall sports team. So girls soccer, girls swimming, volleyball, cross country. We at least let them out of practice one time for that. And we try to, in the future, one of our goals is to invite all of our fall sports teams to one big team dinner. In our off-season points program, our players get points towards incentives if they attend a sporting event of a team they're not a part of. So if I have a football player that wrestles and he attends the home basketball game and they send me a picture or show me a ticket stub, they get points for that, okay? We want to build, our program philosophy. It's kind of morphed into an athletic department school philosophy is one team, one family. We want to promote that. Every week we do a weekly update on our team Facebook page, and we kind of give shout outs and wish good luck to various sports teams and highlight, hey, good luck at IDA this week to our basketball team. Good luck to our wrestlers at districts. Constantly linking them on Facebook and Twitter using social media, encouraging people to follow them and attend their games. Anything we can to promote athletics, promote our school as a whole. We practice and visit a local college once a year. Based on our location, we're within proximity to a lot of schools. And most of them are glad to have us on campus with no problems. So on the Monday, the last week of the regular season, we take a charter bus that's paid for by our football parent support group, Dundee Pride. And we travel to a college campus to tour it and practice. Both the JV and the varsity attend. We'll do our practice, or actually we'll tour and then we'll do our practice, and then we have a kind of a tailgate dinner in the parking lot afterwards. And we rotate that college every year. So if you're a freshman in this program, you're going to be exposed to at least 4 college campuses nearby. And it just gives them that idea of dreaming big. Maybe they never thought they could attend Lawrence Tech or the University of Toledo or Eastern Michigan and whatnot. But it's exposing them to 4 different college campuses. We're building relationships with those nearby colleges as well. Some of the campuses that we've visited in the past, the University of Toledo, Eastern Michigan, Siena Heights, Concordia University in Ann Arbor, and then Lawrence Tech University in Southfield. And as you see here, here's our seniors at Eastern Michigan, and then us practicing in the Glass Bowl down at the University of Toledo. Like I said, we do a faculty appreciation night, and it's we want to stretch it into a kind of a week thing, but we constantly want to find ways to say thank you to them. We're going to honor them at halftime of a home game each year for one team dinner. Our varsity players will write a letter inviting their favorite faculty member. And we actually got this from the book Culture Defeats Strategy by Randy Jackson. The player will give them a handwritten letter invite and then sit with their guests at dinner, serve their guests their food. We try to give our faculty and staff extra t-shirts, schedule magnets, anything we can. Our secretaries and custodians especially, I make sure I order extra t-shirts just for them. They get every t-shirt that we get as coaches. And I'd really like to expand on this, like I said earlier, so if you have ideas, please feel free to email me your ideas on what you do. I'd really like to improve this. I don't think we have all the answers, but I would really like to get better at this. Like I said, being visible to our junior program. We covered the letters to the junior Vikings in our youth football night already. So as the head coach, I try to attend at least one home game of each team. That's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Something else we do is we take a look at their schedules. And each assistant coach is going to look at their schedules and picks out one game that they attend, and they bring 3 or 4 of their position group players with their jerseys on to a game. And yeah, it says home game in there, but we've actually expanded that, and now they might go to an away game. We make sure to stop by practice, check in, talk to the kids. I've brought in our captains over and just randomly talked to a couple of the various teams after practice. We do a summer coaches clinic for our junior and middle school coaches, where we'll either talk about our systems or we'll bring in some outside speakers that kind of are similar to what we do. One thing we're going to do this year is we're going to have kind of an open house practice where we invite them to our practice, and they can stand within so many feet of our drills, and then we're going to feed them all afterwards. And we try to do our best to promote them on social media. If they have a big game or a big win, we're going to highlight it, take pictures, put it on our Facebook page, our Twitter. Okay. Social media. So, it's kind of that necessary evil for all of us, okay? We know it's not going away. So we're going to embrace it, and we're going to make it a positive, encouraging influence. Some of the hashtags we use, selfless, we before me, and our one team, one family. We use Facebook a lot for news, announcements, pictures, schedules, everything. We also do Twitter for the same reason, because it seems like a lot more kids use Twitter than Facebook, but I don't know, that trend could probably change tomorrow or next week. But and then we've really taken a college-like approach for graphics to promoting upcoming events, and kids love these. Kids will retweet them or put them on Instagram and all that stuff. And we have a couple different guys we've used. You can probably find them now on Twitter and on various websites. But these are just some examples of graphics we use on social media. So like right here's a letter home from myself, talking about our off-season program. Over here is our varsity schedule this was last season's varsity schedule. That's a picture of Ford Field where all of the state championships are played in the state of Michigan. Here's a cell phone wallpaper that we had created, and these cost us about $15, $20 each, but for us they're worth it, because that's just the culture we kind of live in now with social media. And so here I'll show some more examples, and here's our pyramid of success, a little bit bigger one that we use. Here's a JV schedule that we have made for social media. And we've reached out to too, if you're looking for somebody to make these, sometimes reaching out to those local colleges and asking if they have an intern on staff that does these. That's how we found a guy that does ours. And he does a great job with them. Just some more different ones. Each of our coaches that's on social media, we have one of these made for them, just looks a little bit more professional. A copy of our helmet, because kids love putting that stuff online. So just some other resources for you. Like I mentioned earlier, Culture Defeats Strategy, number 1 and 2 by Randy Jackson is a great book. How to Build and Sustain a Championship Culture by Jeff Jansen. CEO Strength Coach by Ron McElvany, who's now at Fresno State. Find a Way by Kenny Simpson. 101 Little Things That Can Make a Big Difference by Lou Johnston. And Building Championship Caliber Football Programs by Chris Four. There's also some great presentations on Chief Pigskin by Nate Alba, Dennis Piron, Brad Birchfield down at Bishop Hartley, Nick Banstra, Robert Pomazak, Brad Dixon, and Kurt Hines. His presentation, Know Your Why, is excellent. Find a mentor. Reach out to those championship level coaches, and reach out to them. Ask them about the best things they do that aren't X and O's. One of the best things I ever did was reach out to Toledo Central Catholic's head coach, and Greg Dempsey, and ask him, hey, what are the best things you do that aren't X's and O's? And that's kind of where we picked up a lot of our ideas. Like I said, we've learned from a lot of different coaches. Mike Vickers, who's now a retired head football coach, or was a retired head football coach from Ohio over 30 years. Alex Duda, who's at Dearborn High School, and I've included their Twitter handles if you want to get a hold of them. Josh Linke at Toledo Central Catholic, who I know is going to appear on Chief Pigskin later, how you can get a hold of him. Our athletic director, Tom Ostrike, he's done some great things when he was a head coach at Flat Rock and as an assistant, and then with me as an assistant. Ron Adams at Wyandotte. Matt Koziak at Muskegon Mona Shores High School, who just won a state title this past year. Does some great stuff. I highly recommend reaching out to him. Corey Parker at River Rouge, St. Mary's Catholic Central, Michigan. Tori Strock at Napoleon High School in Ohio. Some college programs that have done some really good community stuff. Eastern Michigan, University of Toledo, Trine University in Indiana, Grand Valley State, Muskingum University in Ohio, Northwood. They've all done some cool stuff that we heard at a clinic or saw online and kind of borrowed and stole ideas like any good football coach does. Just real quick, I want to mention our coaching staff in our district, because obviously without them, there is no program. We wouldn't have been fortunate to have the success we have had without them. My defensive coordinator, Steve Ayer, my offensive coordinator, Clay Pelham, my JV defensive coordinator, and running backs coach, outside linebackers coach, Spencer Eagle, my JV head coach and defensive backs coach, Brian Hammond, my JV assistant, Andrew Four, and Travis Bogey, our mental coach, which, on a side note, some we've picked up over the years is having a guy that is just very good with connecting with kids and building them up. We're fortunate. Our wrestling coach, who's a legend, he's a Hall of Famer, Tim Roberts, he comes out to practice once a week or so and just talks to kids and builds up their confidence, talks to them about life. My game day operations coordinator and 8th grade coach, Daryl Eaton, who handles a lot of the little things behind the scenes so I can just focus on coaching. Chad Farrell-Child helps with him. And also my assistant coaches at the middle school, Nate Hall, Kevin Dream, and Devin Rowe. Like I said, I'm very fortunate here at Dundee to having a supportive administration. Mr. Eddie Manuzak, Mr. Brian Schroeder, Tom Ostrike, and Judy Hemning all have been a big help to us, and we probably wouldn't have the success we have had without them. So I sincerely thank them. Just some closing thoughts. It takes zero money or talent to build relationships with your community. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. And when in doubt, and you're not sure on what you can do, just think of this as serving others. What can I do to help serve others? Make sure when you're doing these community service, reaching out and building relationships with your community, make sure you show your players and your program the results of their actions. You never know which kid's going to have a confidence boost, how it's going to affect them to see, like those letters from the parents or the Victory Day participants, how it affects them. It makes them, and also shows them too, that what we're doing in our program is bigger than just Friday nights. I've said this at every parent meeting, and I'll always say it is, 10 years from now, if all of your son has learned from us as football, then I think we failed you as a coach. Okay, we're trying to help do our part to prepare these young men to be successful in life. Like I said, we stress having a selfless attitude, and we're not afraid to say love in our program and tell our kids we love them and we're proud of them. I heard this on a Chief Pigskin clinic last week, and it really stuck out to me. It says, people won't believe what you say until your actions show it. Coach Kurt Hines said that, and it really stuck with me. And just, make sure to teach them the values and character traits that you would want someone to emphasize with your son or daughter. At the end of the day, if you can remember that, you're going to be successful. You're going to run a good program. This is just a sign that hangs in our weight room. A quote by Dr. Martin Luther King: "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" Serving others. My contact information is below there. My email address, my cell phone number, Facebook, Twitter. Like I said, I don't have all the answers. A lot of what we do is because we've been blessed to be mentored by some great coaches in this area. So I don't have all the answers. I'm not saying that what we're doing is perfect or it's the right way. It's just what works for us. So, on behalf of our football program, sincerely, I thank Nate Alba and Chief Pigskin for having us on. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.